Special note to listener Sarah Redacted. You were a Patreon supporter of ours back in 2017, so you've already heard this one. For the rest of you, back in 2017, Carrie and I recorded a series of episodes about the first season of the TV show Riverdale, and we're now releasing them to the general public. I have to say, listening to this again, there's a thing that happens at the end of this episode that just makes me smile so much, and I hope you enjoy it as well.
I know you think she's sweet as candy. I know you wanna be with her, but Josie got a reputation to scratch behind that curve.
Hi, and welcome to Living in a Van down by the Riverdale. I'm Carrie.
I'm Jake.
And we're talking about Riverdale, Chapter 7, In a Lonely Place.
Yeah, so let's get to it.
Let's do that.
So this episode was some shit.
This was some shit. This was some hard to watch shit.
It was. Because it was trading serious things and it was written really badly.
Both of those things are true. It was awkward and uncomfortable, and it made me sad on the inside and the outside.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So, here we are back in Riverdale.
Oh, good for us.
Now what?
Okay. Well, I sort of liked the opening a little bit, even though I didn't understand why it was there, which was just like a super cartoony look, you know, with Jughead wearing the kind of badge hat thing, except it looks exactly like in the comic books instead of just being inspired by it, and everyone wearing like, you know, shirts with giant letters on them and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was real. I said Jughead looks adorable in the comic book version of himself, and so everyone was the comic book version of themselves. Even Veronica was, and Archie.
Yeah.
What makes a place feel like home? Is it warmth and familiarity?
I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it was kind of cool looking, but I didn't really understand.
The part I didn't get was like Archie standing there and he's like got a knife in his back, and
dude, why'd you stab me in the back?
I was like, why does he think he's stabbing Archie in the back? Like, I don't get this.
Also, is that the worst looking special effect ever?
Yes. Actually, no, I think we could do worse. I'm sure we could do worse.
Yeah. No, I don't know. When did Jughead betray Archie?
He never did. I would think that he thought that Archie betrayed him.
Oh, I know why.
Why?
Betty.
But Archie doesn't like Betty like that.
Yeah, I know. But I bet that's what it is, though.
Okay, that's a stretch. That's a reach there, Jughead.
Yeah.
But the subconscious wants what the subconscious wants.
Yeah.
And we discover where Jughead's been living.
Yes, he's been Harry Pottering it up.
At school.
Living in a closet.
And I was just like, of course he's living at school. Everyone in Riverdale lives at school.
Yeah, I believe you called that in a previous episode.
I believe I did.
Maybe we should start with the most boring plot line, because I feel like we can dispose of it pretty quickly. Which, well, what do you think it is?
Oh, it's Veronica and her boring ass mom.
Yeah.
So Veronica, you know, we found out last episode, you know, Hermione forged Veronica's signature so that Archie's dad could get the contract of this development. Okay, cool. But she's mad. She's like, but you're cheating on Daddy. Well, Daddy's in jail and I got needs, honey.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite part of this whole subplot is where Veronica went shopping.
Yes.
What's all this? Some retail therapy to salve my emotional wounds, a few treasures from
Glamazon.com.
Yep.
It was amazing. Oh. And yeah, so she's like, I'm mad at my mom, but this is how we do things. So I'm going to go clubbing, and she's going to cancel my credit card, and then we negotiate. I was like, okay, boring, but whatever. Now you guys are friends again, which helps us later, I guess.
Yeah. And they go out clubbing, and Veronica says,
they took everything from us. Our houses, our cars, our club memberships, our yacht. Even, I'm not kidding, the clothes off our backs.
Which seems unlikely to me.
Because she has a lot of clothes, like a lot of them. So if they took the clothes off your back, first of all, the authorities aren't going to let you go naked. They're just not. And they don't show up with like paper bags for you to wear.
Burlap sacks.
So yes, I find this suspect. But she does have a lot of clothes for someone who had the authorities take all of her clothes.
Yeah, and she says that when that happened, her mother told her that, like...
My mom sat me down on the edge of my canopy bed, and she told me not to cry, because there was one thing in this world that no one could ever take from me. Not ever.
And Reggie says...
Your trust fund?
Which is supposed to be funny, but isn't...
My name, Reggie. Which after telling me no one would ever take it, that is exactly what she did.
Which... her name is Lodge, and the fact that she's related to her dad is, I mean, the Lodge name is why Hermione can't get a job, and like, so the whole thing seems suspect. And now she's like, and now she's taken that away from me by forging her name on a construction contract. I don't know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
God, such bad writing. Okay.
Such bad writing.
I forget. How does, oh, right. Yeah. So then at the end they negotiate. Oh yeah. Like, that's not how you negotiate.
You want me to accept your affair?
Until we get more information, yes. That is what I'm asking you to accept.
Fine. Agreed. Now my turn.
You have to be okay with me having an affair. Deal. But you have to... What the fuck did Veronica get out of a deal? Like, you have to not fuck in this house?
Whatever is happening with you and Fred can't happen under this roof.
Agreed.
And you have to come clean to Daddy about forging my signature.
Lodge Industries needs to partner with legitimate businesses, not criminals.
Understood. I don't want Daddy thinking I betrayed him.
I will tell him about the forgery and say it was all my doing.
And I'm just like... You're not really getting a whole lot out of this, Veronica.
Yeah, and then her mom, like, gives additional things that Veronica has to do.
And in the meantime, the online shopping, the clubbing, all that stops. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think she lost on that negotiation. It's like, okay, don't fuck in this house. I mean, that's a pretty common request for a teenager whose parents or whose parent is dating. Is just like, just don't bring it home.
You know what this proves to me, Carrie?
What does this prove to you, Jacob?
It proves to me that the claims that you become rich based on your own merits are a lie, and the myth of the meritocracy is just that. So let's move on to another plot. Fuck capitalism. That's what that says to me.
So there are 3 plots in this episode. There's the Veronica plot that we just finally, knocked out. We're done with that. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Jughead plot and the Polly plot.
Right.
Where do you want to go?
I feel like the Polly plot will be more fun. And then the Jughead plot will make us sad. So let's end with that.
Oh, good. Let's end with a tearjerker.
Well, I feel like that's the main, like, this is really a Jughead episode.
Yes.
So hashtag Polly Cooper killed my brother. Use it on Twitter. Tag us.
So my favorite part was right at the beginning of the episode. Everybody's talking in the student lounge or whatever. And there's this shady girl like standing behind them, standing next to the candy machine, like listening in on their conversation about like, Polly escaped and what do I do? And who do I talk to? My mom is awful. And I was like, first of all, why are you talking like so loud in a student lounge? And why aren't you noticing the shady girl right behind you who they keep, focusing in on? So of course I'm noticing the shady girl staring at them from the candy machine, who then texts Cheryl Blossom and she tweets about,
You guys, oh my God.
What?
Cheryl just tweeted hashtag Polly Cooper killed my brother, hashtag nowhere to hide, hashtag sharpen your pitchforks.
I don't think that the writers know how hashtags work, which is weird because I don't think they're old. Like, they're younger than I am, but I am aware that hashtag Polly Cooper killed my brother is not a hashtag that you can use effectively. Hashtag sharpen your pitchforks is a weird combination of Twitter and like 18th century uprisings.
at the same time, that's exactly how I would use a hashtag, but I'm not in high school. I would use a hashtag sort of as a punchline,
Mm-hmm.
but not as a hashtag. So I'm not sure if she's sort of doing the ironic hashtag or she actually means to like get that shit trending.
Yeah.
I just don't know. So I guess I didn't think it out of place.
Okay, the Sisters of Quiet Mercy are due north. The getaway car was west on the old Route 40.
Closest bus station is east, headed towards Sweetwater. If Polly wanted to leave Riverdale without anyone seeing her, she probably would have left through
Right here, Evergreen Forest.
At the end of the last episode, Polly ran away, so now they're trying to figure out, like, where is she? And how can they find her? So, all the good, all of our protagonists who are on the side of good show up in this forest where they think that she would have gone. And Betty and Polly's parents are there. And then the Blossoms show up.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, they totally do. And they're all like, so you got the two groups. You got like the one is the ragtag band of misfits. And then all of a sudden in come the fancy tweed rich people.
Yeah.
And they're walking in slow motion and they've all got the hunter boots. And you're like, oh, damn, they got money.
Yeah. And they're dressed like they're going on a fox hunt or something.
They are certainly going on a fox hunt. They are looking for Polly and they're all dressed the same and they're all really scary.
Yep.
But I did like Veronica's coat while they were in the other thing. Did you notice that they called it the Evergreen Forest?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Evergreen Forest.
And I was like, what the Evergreen? I was like, did somebody just fuck up or is this really called the Evergreen Forest? That's stupid.
You know what? Maybe the writers are from a different planet.
I think they might be because that's not a thing.
Writer Aaron Allen, we're calling you out.
There's no such thing as an Evergreen Forest.
No. So the Blossoms get into some kind of argument with the Coopers, and I forget exactly how that falls out, but who cares? And then Jughead is walking Betty home, and they're like kind of having this little like, do we want to talk about what our relationship is, or do we just not want to even talk about it? Body language thing.
Betty is like, I don't want to talk about this. And he's like, but I totally do. And she's just like, I'll just hold your hand a little harder and maybe you won't notice that I'm not talking about this.
Yeah. And then she says,
It's funny, this isn't the first time Polly's run away from home. She was 9. She and my mom got in this huge fight and she disappeared for hours. The whole neighborhood was out looking for her.
How far did she get?
so this would have occurred to someone before then, right?
I would think so. I would think that the parents would have thought to check the hiding place if she had run away so many times before.
And also, just as a point of order, would you say that it counts as running away if you stay in the house?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
And I have a reason to answer yes. Because if you were going to go up into the attic where there are creepy Victorian dolls and a wedding dress on a mannequin,
Yeah,
if you have the fucking balls
that's true.
to spend time up there without breaking down, that is an effective runaway.
That's true. No one else ever, like it's not like someone's going to go, oh, let's play with the Ouija board. Anyone want to go up to the attic?
It's really dusty. Nothing bad's going to happen up here.
People will be like, no way, that place is fucking haunted.
Yeah.
Let's do something else.
So the fact that, she goes and she hides up there, you know what? That takes some guts. And I'm going to say that is, yes, a runaway.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it increases the chance that her child will turn out to be the spawn of Satan. But a girl's got to do what she's got to do.
I think the chances of that child being the spawn of Satan is pretty high at this point, given who the grandparents are.
That is very true. And my next note is in all caps, and I'm going to read it even though it turned out to be basically wrong.
Okay.
I wrote in all caps, oh, fuck, Cheryl wants to adopt the baby.
No. I don't think she wants to adopt the baby. I think she wants to eat the baby.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of notes that say, don't trust Cheryl, Betty. Don't do it. Don't you dare trust the Blossom family, Bettykins. There's a lot of that because the Blossoms get involved because now they know that there's a baby and they're like, oh, well, we'll help Polly. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge with a knife.
Yeah.
And so we're expecting that everything's going to be cool, but it's not. And we also find out that she really wants to keep the baby, but Betty's parents were like, oh no, she has to adopt it out. Like that's the best thing. The only thing, like, wow, this is not comfortable.
And Betty tries to find out if they're lying or not.
Where will the baby sleep? Sweetie, we've talked to your sister about this, and she's agreed to put the baby up for adoption.
Polly did.
And Betty has just talked to Polly, knows that that's a lie. But like Betty is acting so suspiciously, like her parents are stupid.
Why do you ask, honey?
No reason. Just curious.
Our parents are pretty stupid. I mean, I think we've been over that.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's the conversation between Betty and Cheryl's parents, and it's super uncomfortable. And
they're super creepy.
But they're like, oh, we only want the best for our grandchild, blah, blah, blah. And so she's like, okay, we do need cash, so I guess we'll play this game.
Yeah, and then Cheryl's mom asks Cheryl,
you've called Polly a party girl.
Okay, so I think this is key.
Have you seen her take drugs firsthand?
I'm not sure. Why?
Due diligence. We wouldn't want an unfit mother raising our grandchild, now would we?
I mean, Cheryl's mom knows that Jason was dealing drugs.
Yeah.
So I guess she thinks that Polly might have been on drugs and maybe would be like a criminal element or whatever, and not, they would want to take the baby away from her.
Wait, so you're thinking that they're trying to figure out if she's on drugs so they can keep the baby and send her away?
Yes.
Gotcha. I did not think that far.
But then there's an added implication there that obviously Cheryl would have been at any of these parties where Polly was doing drugs and presumably would also be using drugs.
This is a possibility.
And so if Cheryl has any kids, Cheryl's mom is calling her an unfit mother.
This is possible as well.
I may, again, I'm possibly giving the writing more credit.
I think you might be. I think I don't know if the writers really think too far in advance.
But that kind of would explain Cheryl's turn of being like, okay, I'm not going to cooperate with my parents anymore.
See, I was trying to figure out exactly what was going on there. So, Polly and Betty, they're at Pop's and they're all, ready for the Blossoms to show up. And Cheryl walks in and she's like,
I have to leave. Now.
Run the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Like, shit's going crazy. And they do. But I was just like, does Cheryl just know that her parents are the worst and doesn't want this kid raised by them or in their lives? I'm like, I don't know if the writers gave me enough to like figure out why the fuck she was freaking out other than the fact that her parents are evil. But maybe you're right. Maybe it was, the fact that they were obviously they were going to turn on her because that's what they do. You don't trust the Blossoms.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't have any indication of exactly how they were going to turn on her. Cheryl, for all of her faults and all of her flaws, she loved the fuck out of her brother. And so now she's going to do anything she can to help her nephew or niece. Yeah. And I appreciate that because she might be the worst, but she's not the worst.
Right. No, there are people who are worse.
By a landslide.
Perhaps we'll be rating one of them later on in this episode.
So then they go to Veronica's house and Hermione's like, yeah, you can totally stay here. Except that also felt a little ominous.
Yeah. Like she says,
of course you can stay as long as you need. Anything for Alice Cooper's daughters?
Which is all well and good, except we've met Alice Cooper. And she is a terrible person and creepy as fuck. And I can't imagine that Hermione and Alice got along ever.
I doubt it. I doubt that they're friends. I doubt that there's anything good between them. I mean, Alice Cooper doesn't want Betty to hang out with Veronica because, she's bad news. So I'm like, I just didn't know how to feel about Polly staying with Veronica and Hermione, because I was like, something about this feels like it's going to end badly. And I don't know how, but it feels like it's going to end badly.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right. Plot number 3.
Oh, plot number 3. I'm not ready, Jacob. I'm not ready. Jughead.
Yeah. So, as we said earlier, Juggy's been living in a closet.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing his morning routine in the gym, taking a shower and whatnot. And Archie walks in on him, I assume for football related reasons, although it's not explained.
It's never explained because like I said before, I think everybody lives in this school. So it shouldn't be unusual to see someone there after or before hours because they don't lock the place. I have a real problem with this. I'm sorry. So then Archie's like, what are you doing here?
Right.
And, Jughead blows it off. He's like, no, Jughead, what are you doing here? And we see Jughead take a breath.
Yep.
And then we cut to the open closet door.
Yeah. And we see a couple of books, which are clearly there for us to see them, but I don't know exactly what the significance is, but it's Huckleberry Finn and Metamorphosis, I believe.
They're to show that Jughead is a brooding smart boy with problems with authority because he's doing poorly in school, but obviously is reading serious works of literature in his spare time. We're at the Joneses' trailer, and Jughead's being all broody because he's seeing all his dad's bottles, and he's like, Dad, this shit, this can't work, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you go work for Luke Perry? He's like, I'm not going to work with Luke Perry.
Right, because Archie has convinced Luke Perry to give him another shot.
Because that's what Archie does, and Luke Perry just does it. So we find out a little bit more about, about Jughead's dad and their situation. And then eventually Daddy Jughead goes to Luke Perry and says, okay, dude, I do want a job. And he starts working for him. Hermione's like, oh, but you're a serpent. But he's like, no, but Luke Perry doesn't know, so don't tell him.
Yeah, that's the thing about snakes, Carrie. You don't step on them, they have no reason to bite you.
Except for the fact that snakes are assholes, and they will bite you just for the fuck of it.
Yeah, that seems to be the case for this particular snake. But yeah, that was kind of funny because I had completely forgotten that, when Luke Perry hired him back, Hermione also worked there, and that they would encounter each other.
Look, if this is another shakedown.
No, it's not. We're good. Your convict husband settled up. I think he got the message after you got our little care package.
Why are you even here?
My son asked me to try and go straight.
What I thought was weird, or just fucking convenient, is that there was this whole big thing about her paying off the serpents, and they didn't get enough money, and there was a snake, and it was so scary, and all of a sudden he's just like, your husband gave us the rest. We're good.
Yeah, and he also said...
Dudley Do-Right doesn't know I'm a serpent, so I'd appreciate it if you keep that to yourself.
Which doesn't really seem like a secret.
Yeah, I think if you're, riding around town on your motorcycle with a fucking snake on your back, people are going to know you might be a serpent.
Yes, that's Jeff Foxworthy routine.
Oh, yeah, let's cut that out right now.
No, that's as far as I was going to take it.
Edit that out.
Okay.
So after a long day at work, they go out to Pops. So
the only restaurant in town.
So Luke Perry, FP, which is Jughead's dad, Jughead and Archie are having dinner at Pops, and it's super awkward, and they're talking about the old times. And why don't you talk about the old times, Jacob?
Okay. Well, so Luke Perry and Jughead's dad used to be in a band together.
What was the name of the band?
Come on, tell them.
Yeah, it was called the Fred Head.
Yeah, it sure was.
And Luke Perry refers to Jughead's dad as a BMOC, which stands for Big Man on Campus.
But now we're getting to the best part.
Remind me.
So.
Oh, they had a van?
They had a van. Mm-hmm.
The name of the van was the Shaggin' Wagon.
Remember what we called it, Fred?
The Shaggin'
Wagon. The Shaggin' Wagon.
It was. It's so awkward.
Parents out there, never tell your teenage child anything like that.
No, never. Because I'm blushing and I'm not even there.
I mean, it doesn't speak well of you that as a teenager you had a van named the Shaggin' Wagon. Like, that kind of means you were an asshole.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And also it's just so evocative of the things that your child will not want to picture.
Yeah, no, I don't want to picture. Oh God.
No.
And then we find out a little bit more about their falling out.
Yes. Fred tries to pick up the check.
Yeah, and then
FP is having none of it.
None of it.
Jughead tries to pay for the meal.
Hey, we invited you guys out. Let me pay.
Put your damn money away.
FP, take it easy.
Jughead has this thing where he really does a lot of smoothing over for people, and I feel so bad for him because he's just like, he's the kid of an alcoholic. Like, he's constantly like hiding things, fixing things, smoothing things over, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's like, oh shit, my dad's getting in a state, so I need to fix things, and it's not going to work, Jughead. So calm down. So then Jughead's dad's like,
you owe me this.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, you get this one. If I'd have known, probably got another milkshake.
And we're like, why? Why does he owe him? What's going on? I gotta say, like, Jughead, he knows how to act.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, my God, he's really selling these terrible lines.
He's selling it. He is owning it. And I was just like, damn, what's his name? Cole? It's like, damn, Cole, you're making me feel. And this is Riverdale, so I feel a little bad for feeling. So good job, Jughead.
Yeah, there's like a scene at the end where his dad asks him to give him one more chance, and he's like, do you believe that you believe in me, right? And like, Jughead just has this look of bitter anger on his face, and he holds it, and then he sort of lets it dissolve, and he says, of course I do, Dad. And it's just like, I was just like, man, that's so good. And yet the context is so bad.
It's so awful. But yeah, so this guy who I guess has been a child actor, he's selling it for me.
So a little later on, Archie and Jughead's dad are doing a little guitar jamming. And he wants a beer, which Jughead is like instantly, it's like on instant alert.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have a beer. And Archie, who is the worst,
so dumb,
is like,
hey, Mr. Jones, before you go, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Earlier tonight, you said my dad owed you. What do you mean by that?
And Jughead's like,
yeah, Archie, why don't we quit while we're ahead?
And Archie's like, it's just a question. Yeah, that's all it is, Archie. Tell yourself that.
Mm-hmm.
So Luke Perry's business, actually, it used to be a partnership between them. And at some point, Jughead's dad, I guess there were medical bills of some kind. He doesn't say exactly what that's about, but
it sounds like the mom might have some medical related problems.
Yeah, or maybe Jelly Bean.
Maybe Jelly Bean. I'm not sure, but one of the two of them, because he was like,
Fred, he just had you and your mom to provide for. I had Jughead and Jelly Bean and their mom and hospital bills.
Jughead's dad was doing some unsavory things to get money, and he got arrested, and Luke Perry bailed him out on the condition, basically, that he gave up his part of the business.
And so, of course, the two kids are like, oh my God, Luke Perry's such an asshole. I can't believe that this went down like that.
Yeah, but Archie, like,
but maybe it didn't quite go down like that.
Yeah. Oh, and then Jughead's dad like takes out a flask and starts drinking some sort of booze.
No, I think I need something a little harder than beer.
Oh, and then he asks he gives the keys to Jughead, which I appreciated that at least.
Yeah.
And they head back to the house, and Jughead gives him the Jelly Bean update.
And now we know where Jughead's mom and Jelly Bean are. So
yes.
Hey, I talked to Mom. She got a job at a call center to pay for online classes. I guess she's finally going after her GED. Jelly Bean is helping her study. By the way, Jelly Bean wants to go as JB now. She thinks it sounds cooler. She's 10 years old and listens to Pink Floyd on vinyl. I don't think she could get any cooler.
It was fantastic. I loved every second of it. I was like, oh my God, Jelly Bean's probably the coolest kid in the world, and I want to be her.
Yeah. Listens to Pink Floyd on vinyl. I thought, oh man, it's my nephew, only a few years younger and female.
Yeah. And come on, Pink Floyd.
Yep.
It's like the one thing I keep coming back to in this show is that the writers don't know anything about cool, but yet they're writing a TV show about cool teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And Jughead's dad falls asleep.
Yeah, which really pissed me off because, this guy fucking doesn't talk to his daughter, doesn't talk to his son, lets this kid live under the stairs. And then when he tells him things about the kid, falls asleep. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That was so shitty.
He looks like, for a lot of this episode, except for the one time when he goes back to work, he just his eyes are so bloodshot and he just looks like.
Yeah. So I thought that his drunk acting was not good, but his looking fucked up and sick acting was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree. That's on point. Good job to the makeup people.
I was like, yeah, his slurring, his stumbling. It's like, I don't know. Wasn't quite doing it for me, but he looked like shit. I'll give him that.
So then Archie confronts Luke Perry, and I have written down in my notes, I believe Luke Perry.
I do too. I think Luke Perry, has no reason to lie in this instance. It's not going to do anyone any harm or good if he lies. It's just, I think he's telling the truth. I think he's like, yeah, I tried over and over and over again, but eventually I needed to cut him out.
Yeah.
And I believe him. But I also believe that he didn't know that, Jughead or that he was so bad off and that Jughead was alone.
Yeah.
I don't think he knew that.
Right. So Archie kind of guilt trips him a little. Okay. So then.
Now we're at school.
Yes. So you know what I thought was amazing about this?
What?
I'm going to need you to come down to the station.
They take Jughead to the police station.
I know. I didn't know they had one.
I thought it was in the school.
I assumed it was in the school. So Principal Weatherby and Sheriff Keller are they're there and they're like, so, Jughead, we found some stuff with your prints, and we were expecting to find your prints, but then we looked into your background. Dun, dun, dun. What happens?
They found out that Jughead was arrested for arson or attempted arson.
Yeah, he tried to burn down his elementary school.
Yeah, that seems like something that would be known if you were as old as either of these people are.
Yeah.
And involved in law enforcement and or schools. But regardless, they looked into it. They found this out. Jughead says he was just playing with matches. And then they were talking about how he's a loner type and he's bullied. And Jughead says,
my favorite line ever.
You have a long and rough history, Mr. Jones. Bullied a lot.
Yeah. My name is Jughead.
Which his name isn't Jughead, it's Forsyth. But fair point either way.
Yeah, either way, you're going to get bullied. I just liked the way he said it. He's like, yeah, my name is Jughead. Yeah. And then he's like, I don't want to answer any more questions. I need a lawyer. Oh my God.
Yeah. And the sheriff doesn't like that because cops are, well, perhaps they're members of the police who are listening who are not assholes, but there are certain attitudes in law enforcement that I do not care for. And one of them is that you shouldn't ask for a lawyer and that means you're guilty. because Jughead isn't guilty, but he is correct that the sheriff is not looking out for his best interest right there.
Oh, of course not. He's pulling out stuff from when he was, in elementary school. Like, oh, obviously you set this car on fire because once in elementary school you accidentally set a fire. That's legit. And oh, you're not doing well in school and you've been bullied, so obviously you're a murderer.
Yeah, you don't get along with the football team except for your best friend who's
on the football team.
So clearly you would kill Jason.
Yeah, it all makes perfect sense.
Open and shut case.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to find Jughead's dad, but they can't.
Oh, I felt so bad for him.
But Luke Perry comes to the rescue and claims that Jughead was working for him, although he wasn't.
He wasn't. And he said, oh, yeah, I can give you proof. I've got a time card. I'll just have to look for it.
Jughead's not helping himself in there. I asked him for an alibi, and he just gave me lip.
In contrast with most of the people
It's working for me.
in Riverdale.
Yeah, the week of July 11th, was it? Yeah, I had him tearing out some drywall for me.
Luke Perry is a pretty good liar.
Yeah, I believe him. I mean, I know it's not true, but I believe him.
Yeah. And FP shows up and...
Just tell me how awful it is. Oh, the scene broke my heart. Anyway, sorry.
This is the scene that I was talking. So he's like drunk and he apologizes. He said, like, my phone ran out of battery. I didn't plug it in. And sorry. And he asks Jughead if he's going to come back with him home. And Archie says,
He can stay with us, Mr. Jones. We already offered.
Because Archie is the worst.
Yeah, Archie's timing is terrible. Like, just shut your mouth.
And so FP is like, well, yeah, maybe that's for the best. And Jughead's like, no, I'll go back with you, Dad. And so he goes over and that's that scene I was talking about earlier where his dad is like,
Son, listen to me. I'm gonna do what you want. Get my act together. I'm gonna get your mom and Jellybean home so we're all under the same roof. I promise. But I just need a little time to do that. Not a lot, not long. A month, 2 at the most. Hey. Then we'll be back on track. All right. You believe that, don't you?
And Jughead, like, just that actor just does a great job of like.
Yeah, because I mean, you could see Jughead's heart just breaking. Like, he knows that this is bullshit. He's heard this story before. But that's his dad, and he wants to believe. He wants to believe.
I believe you, Dad.
Like, there's a part of him that's like, of course, someday we're all going to be together again. And it's going to be awesome.
Right. That's his dream. Like, that's literally how the episode began.
But how the episode ends is very different.
Yeah. Also in the dream, he stabs Archie, which I think at this point is all of our dreams.
Oh, yeah. Archie. Now, in this episode, Archie was the worst, but he was a minor character in this episode, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
He was hardly around. So he wasn't the worst of this episode.
No. So then, let's see, we get back to their house. This is at the very end of, so I don't know. Is Jughead actually staying with Archie or is he just hanging out there and then we'll go home?
Archie was blowing up an air mattress.
Oh, well, there you go.
So yeah, he's staying there. I think at this point, like now that Luke Perry's in the know, I think he's going to be looking out for Jughead a little more. And plus he's now his employer.
Yeah, right. I wonder if he gets paid for that fake shift he did.
I think he's getting room and board.
Well, yeah, fair enough. And so Jughead is the final thing,
Hope. A word so close to home. And as tricky.
And we're going through his dad's place. And we see, what do we see, Carrie?
I forget.
Let me be more specific. What do we see in Jughead's dad's closet?
I think I blinked, but I'm guessing a gun.
No.
What?
Oh my God.
What did I miss? What the fuck did I miss, Jacob?
Jason's jacket.
Oh, snap!
Did you really not see that?
I really didn't see
that. Okay, well, I'm glad that I got the chance to bring you this news, Carrie. Yeah, Jason's jacket was in Jughead's dad's goddamn closet.
What? So does that mean Jughead's dad set the thing on fire?
I think it does. That's what I think that probably means.
That's what I'm thinking. Oh my God. How did I miss that? I guess I was like, oh, Jughead's waxing poetic again. I guess that means the episode's over.
Always watch the screen at the very end. There's always some stupid thing.
Oh my fucking God. Edit me smarter. Edit me smarter.
I'll edit you somewhat smarter, but not all the way to genius for this part.
Oh my God, yeah, because I was like, oh God, Jughead, I feel so bad for you, but shut your mouth.
Yeah, well, again, that writing was terrible.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh, close to home. No, you fucking asshole, nobody talks like that. So let me tell you the story of why I completely blanked out.
Okay.
There was a cockroach in my bathroom.
Oh.
And I could see it walking around. And I had to call my husband up to murder its family. It was alone. There was no family. But
yeah,
that sort of like got me off track a little bit. And so blame the fucking cockroach.
Yes. Yes.
I live in the South, y'all. So they grow those bugs big here, like real big, like gigantic. Like I could have put a saddle on this thing.
Okay. So, well, let's see. Let's do this in this order. Rating Archie on being the worst, where 10 is the absolute worst and 1 is incredibly innocent and nice and wonderful, like a small kitten. Keeping in mind that small kittens basically want to murder all the time, but they are adorable and we love them.
I mean, their teeth are small, but their claws are razor sharp.
That's also true.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with a pretty high number because he was so fucking stupid in this episode, stupider than me. So I'm gonna go with 8.5.
Yes, I think that's a good number. I think almost every time I've been harsher on Archie than you, and I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to go up to a 9 because virtually everything he said in this episode was terrible and hurtful, but he also did try to get Jughead's dad a job. And that was kind of a nice thing to do, even though it didn't really work out.
I gave him an 8.5 only because he wasn't in the episode very much.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening to us talk about this episode of Riverdale. Thanks for being patrons and supporting us at the $5 or higher level. We're going to give all of these shout outs in the next episode of Love You Like Crazy, which is our normal podcast, which we'll be recording this very weekend. Check out our podcast. Check out other podcasts on the Ear Trumpet Audio Network. And I guess that's it. Tune in again next week.
Yay.
Yay. Bye, Carrie.
Hi, and welcome to Living in a Van down by the Riverdale. Okay.
I don't know why I'm laughing. That's just what the name of the show is.
It's just the name of the show. Okay, so and scene. Okay,